anniversary of 9/11, a new ABC News Washington Post poll shows Americans feel less safe today from a terror attack than they did a decade ago. Here's ABC's Andy Field.
The survey is showing just 49% of Americans think the U.S. is safer from terrorism than it was before the 9/11 attacks, down from 64% a decade ago. One of the weakest ratings of U.S. anti-terrorism efforts. More than 4 in 10 Americans say the U.S. has become less safe, reflecting the political divide and the hectic withdrawal of American forces from Afghanistan.
The Taliban announcing its new caretaker government in Afghanistan. ABC News Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz says it falls far short of what the Taliban had been promising.
It sure does fall short. First of all, they are all members of the Taliban, and it certainly does not include any women. But it does include people with ties to terrorism, including the new Minister of the Interior, who has a $5 million FBI price tag on his head because of affiliation with terrorist groups, and that includes al-Qaeda.
Trial beginning today in Paris for members of ISIS who carried out the Bataclan and National Soccer Stadium attacks in 2015. 130 people were killed in that rampage. A record number of children now infected with the coronavirus. 250,000 tested positive in the U.S. last week, the highest number since the pandemic began. Boston Children's Hospital's Dr. John Brownstein.
This virus still impacts adults in a more severe way, but the situation is many adults are vaccinated, and this virus, especially the new Delta variant that has emerged rapidly, will find unvaccinated hosts.
As of right now, 75% of U.S. adults have gotten at least one shot. 64% are fully vaccinated. A 7.0 magnitude earthquake in Acapulco today could be felt in Mexico City. You're listening to ABC News.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima Tax Relief works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collectors from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Singer Britney Spears may soon be rid of the conservatorship that has run her life. Her father, Jamie Spears, reversing his stance, now filing court papers saying it should be ended. Britney told a judge in June she wanted her father removed, calling the arrangement abusive and humiliating. Opening statements expected this morning in the fraud trial of Elizabeth Holmes, founder of the failed blood testing company Theranos. Her trial expected to last for more than 3 months. Jury selection beginning today in the first trial of the Varsity Blues college admissions scandal. 2 parents facing accusations they paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in a scam to get their kids into USC. Several other parents, including actress Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin, have already pleaded guilty. Another airline passenger getting way out of control on a plane. ABC's Derek Dennis has the story.
We've heard of unruly passengers before, but how about one who growled? That's an American Airlines traveler on a flight from L.A. to Salt Lake City caught on video standing up.
Sit down now.
And growling like a dog at crew members while removing and replacing his mask. Witnesses say the 61-year-old man from Vegas was yelling, "God bless America," and Joe Biden. They also say he verbally targeted an Asian woman. He was arrested at the gate, cited for public intoxication and disorderly conduct. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Okay, this is ABC News.
Vaccines are not enough, and accurate thermometers are essential for everyone. COVID is once again a major concern, and fever is the key symptom for both the flu and COVID. An accurate thermometer, like the Exergen temporal scanner, is essential to detect fevers early and reliably. Studies have shown that non-contact thermometers are ineffective and therefore dangerous, as they create a false sense of security. Exergen is working with a single focus to ensure that everyone who needs an accurate thermometer can purchase one. Learn more at Exergen.com.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the wrist.
Tracking a slow-moving cold front that will bring rain into the region today and tomorrow. Today, we're likely to see some storms turn severe as we head into the afternoon. Damaging wind speeds will be the main threats. We're going to see highs in the mid to upper 80s for this afternoon. Overnight falling into the upper 50s and lower 60s with those showers around. Rain chances picking up tomorrow morning with the cold front actually moving through. Highs in the low to mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Well, once we get through today with a threat of thunder, lightning, and rain throughout today, the rest of the weekend is going to be absolutely nice. Low to mid 80s through most of it, and then it warms up into, looks like maybe on Monday or Tuesday, looks like it's going to be in the 90s. Yes, Monday 91, and that's pretty much it. That's the highest it's going to be for the next few days, 88 on Tuesday. So, fall is knocking on our door. It's just a matter of getting here. Right now we have 71 degrees. Now I have these death announcements. Peggy Jean Waters Barker, age 80 of Forest City, died Tuesday at her home. Funeral services will be held Thursday, September the 9th at 11 o'clock at the Gooch Creek Baptist Church. Burial will follow in the Race Path Baptist Church Cemetery. The family will receive friends Wednesday evening from 6 until 8 at the Paget King Mortuary for Peggy Jean Waters Barker. Harold Dean Roberts Sr. died Monday, September the 6th. Those arrangements incomplete and will be announced by Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service. Kimberly Roy James, age 63 of Rutherford, died at her home September the 2nd. The Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Kimberly Roy James. Kelly M. Lowry, age 47 of Mooresboro. This is WCAB Rutherfordton. Kelly M. Lowry, age 47 of Mooresboro, passed away Wednesday, September the 1st at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. No formal services will be conducted, and Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with the arrangement for Kelly M. Lowry. Martha Letha Roach Dobbins, age 92 of Ellenboro, died Friday, September 3rd. The funeral service will be held at 2 o'clock today at Corinth Baptist Church. Burial will follow in the church cemetery. The family will receive friends in the sanctuary at Corinth today from 12:30 until 1:45. The Paget King Mortuary serving the family of Martha Letha Roach Dobbins. John Wayne Duke Wilkins died August 27th. Service was to be private, and Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of John Wayne Duke Wilkins. Lisa Ann Shelton, 45, died Sunday, September the 5th. Funeral service will be 3 p.m. September 13th at Crow's Funeral Chapel. Burial will follow in Cello Baptist Church Cemetery. Family will receive friends from 2 till 3 prior to the service for Lisa Ann Shelton. Margie Smith Devine, 82, died Thursday, September 2nd at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. The funeral will be conducted at 3 o'clock today at Mount Vernon Baptist Church. Burial will follow in the church cemetery. Visitation will be from 2 until 3 today prior to the service in the church sanctuary, and Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service in charge of the arrangements for Margie Smith Devine. Del Beam, age 67 of Forest City, passed away Thursday, September 2nd at his residence. Graveside service will be conducted at 11 o'clock today at Florence Creek Baptist Church Cemetery. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service serving the family of Del Beam. Bobby D. Bright, age 53 of Rutherfordton, passed away Wednesday, September 1st at his residence. The funeral will be conducted at 3 o'clock Thursday, September the 9th at Harrelson Funeral Chapel. Burial will follow in Calvary Baptist Church Cemetery in Rutherfordton. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the funeral home. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service serving the family of Bobby D. Bright. Peggy McGinnis Wells of Spindale died September the 4th. A memorial service will be held 2 o'clock Thursday, September the 9th at Spencer Baptist Church. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to the service in the Family Life Center. For Peggy Wells. John H. Leitzer Jr. passed away at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills September the 2nd. Crow's Mortuary was assisting the family of John H. Leicester Jr. Have no indication of the services. Mark Von Curry, age 63, of Rutherfordton, passed away Monday, August 30th at Physical Rehab and Wellness Center of Spartanburg. There will be a gathering in memory of Mark at McMahon's funeral home from 1 until 3 Saturday. And McMahon's funeral home in charge of the arrangements for Mark Von Curry. Christine Smith Luckadoo, age 49, of Forest City, passed away Thursday at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. The family will receive friends from 6 until 8 Saturday, September the 11th at Harrelson Funeral Home. A memorial service will be conducted at 2 on Monday, September 13th at the Church of the Exceptional. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services serving the family of Christine Smith Luckadoo. Susan Minor Keith, age 69, of Rutherfordton, passed away Saturday at her home. The memorial service celebrating her life will be Saturday, September the 11th at 2 o'clock at St. Francis Episcopal Church in Rutherfordton. Burial will be in the Memorial Garden at the church. McMahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Service serving the family of Susan Minor Keith. Camille Richard Francois, age 56, passed away Thursday, September 2nd at Rutherford Regional. The funeral service will be conducted at 1 o'clock Saturday, September the 11th at Spindale Fellowship Holiness Church. Family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the church. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service serving the family of Camille Richard Francois. Bob Sellers, 85, of Forest City, passed away Monday, August 23rd. The funeral service will be conducted Friday, September the 10th at 1 o'clock at Adaville Baptist Church. And a private graveside service with military honors will be conducted at Rutherford County Memorial Cemetery. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service serving the family of Bob Sellers. Bill Thomason, age 60, of Forest City, passed away Thursday, August 26th at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. The funeral service will be conducted at 1 o'clock Friday, September the 10th at Adaville Baptist Church. There will be no formal visitation. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service entrusted with those arrangements for Bill Thomason.
Learn more at nria.net.
That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
Be careful. 100.9 FM and 590 AM may be good for your health. Positive, family-friendly radio for the foothills.
Good morning. Good morning.
100.9 FM. Walking down memory lane with classic oldies.
As the story goes, Ed Shefflin, while prospecting in southeast Arizona, was told that all he would be able to find would be his tombstone. On September 3, 1877, he recorded his first silver claim, naming it the Tombstone Mine. It ended up producing $30 million in silver. Buildings started springing up overnight. By the end of 1877, the heyday of the cattle towns was all but over. Texas Rangers were chasing all of the bad guys out of Texas, and Pat Garrett was wrapping up things in New Mexico. So, Tombstone became the last hurrah for many a desperado. With a town of miners, claim jumpers, con artists, soiled doves, gunmen, and gamblers, it seemed to have at least one killing a day. The Tombstone Epitaph had a special column called Death's Doings that reported these killings. Will Spicer, in an early letter, said Tombstone had 2 dance halls, a dozen gambling places, and more than 20 saloons. But he wrote, "Still there is hope, for I know of 2 Bibles in town." 3 years after Shefflin filed his claim, Tombstone had about 500 buildings and more than 100 selling hard liquor, and about half of those houses of ill repute. Tombstone's reputation even became a concern for President Chester Arthur. Tombstone survived 2 disastrous fires, but in 1886, when water flooded the mines, the population began to shrink. But in the spirit of a town too tough to die, Tombstone, Arizona remains today the place that all Old West enthusiasts want to go. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Put Jesse James Railroad Express on your lunch calendar. He has a menu chocked full of fresh cooked burgers, fresh salads, hot dogs made any way you like, taco salads, specialty burgers, sandwiches, french fries, or onion rings. Enjoy refreshing milkshakes, Coke floats, or a cone of hand-dipped ice cream. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 4, closed Wednesday and Sunday. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue, Ruthverton. Call 828-447-4644. Mondays only. Hot dogs with mustard, chili, and onions for only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
Jesse James Railroad Express is closed for a few days, but will be reopening real soon. Now let's get to the phones and find out what's been going on around our county. And Officer King with the Sheriff's Department is on the phone now to give us that update. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing today, Jim?
Doing really good. It's still dark out there, hoping that we'll get a little rain and it'll go past us, and we'll have another beautiful weekend coming up to celebrate 9/11 come down in Forest City on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what's been happening.
In the past 24 hours, the Sheriff's Department has responded to 198 calls for service. There were 12 arrests processed in the jail, and the jail currently has 208 people incarcerated. On our incident reports, Billy Hicks Williams from Morningstar Lake Road in Forest City reported a case of first-degree trespass. Alina Rodriguez Fisher from Academy Street in Mooresboro reported a financial card fraud. The Avondale Convenience Center on Ellenboro-Henrietta Road in Ellenboro reported a case of littering. Shelba Sinclair from Honeycomb Drive in Bostic reported a case of breaking and entering. And Next Generation Plastics from Booger Hollow Road in Ellenboro reported a case of misdemeanor larceny. On our arrest reports, Tammy Mann from Oakland Road in Forest City was arrested and charged with first-degree trespass, received a $1,000 secured bond. Christine Leon, listed as homeless, was served with 1 count of failure to appear on misdemeanor, received a $750 secured bond. Jason Bishop from Harris Trail in Gaffney, South Carolina, was served with a warrant for a flee to elude arrest with a motor vehicle, received a $10,000 unsecured bond. Antonio Ledbetter from West Court Street in Rutherford was served with 1 count of failure to appear on misdemeanor, received a $3,000 secured bond. Brooklyn Militello from Leonard Lane in Ellenboro was served with 7 counts of failure to appear on a felony, received a $47,000 secured bond. And Walter Walker from Engineer Road in Bostic was served with 1 count of failure to appear on misdemeanor and received a $500 secured bond. And that's all we have for today.
Officer King, thank you very much for that report, and you be safe out there today, and I'll see you next time.
All right, have a good one, Jim.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Cheryl, I've been talking to Tommy and David, the outside salesmen at Henson Building Materials in Forest City. They're going to help us navigate through our remodeling project.
Well, I know they have tons of experience, so we'll be in good hands.
Good hands is right. Even professional builders shop there because they trust the quality products and service.
And did you know they have a great relationship with our community, too? Oh, they're so nice.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Now let's say good morning to Kylie over at 911 Communications Center. She'll give us a report on their phone calls. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm
good. How are you?
Good. Tell us what's going on over there.
In the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications has processed 516 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 80 for EMS, 22 for rescue, 197 for the Sheriff's Office, 93 for Forest City, 6 for Lake Lure, 41 for Rutherfordton, 56 for Spindale. Ballstick responded to a vehicle fire. Cliffside responded to a fire alarm. Ellenborough responded to a motor vehicle accident. Hudley responded to a motor vehicle accident. And Sandy Mush responded to a vehicle accident. And that's all we've had.
Thanks, Kylie. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Here's Ruby Taylor with our report from SDO Fire District, Danieltown, Shallow Danieltown, Oakland community. Good morning, Ruby.
Good morning.
What's on your report?
Well, sir, I didn't have any calls. And on my birthday counter, I got Christina Stacy and Sandra Jones. That's all. And the signs are in the range today and tomorrow, and that's all I got.
All right, Ruby. You have a wonderful day.
Well, I hope I do overslept.
Well, that's once in a while. That's good for
I
you.
go backwards when I do that.
Oh well, I know it's tough to get oriented once you oversleep, isn't it?
Yep, it sure is.
Well, it'll work out fine. You have a great day, and I'll see you next time.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. How many of you overslept from some point in your life, right? It happens. 22 past the hour, and we'll get to our next phone call up in the mountains right after we do this.
America's Fudge Shop, 155 East Main Street in beautiful downtown Forest City, has fresh roasted cinnamon glazed cashews, almonds, or pecans, $5 a cone, or 3 for $12. Also choose from 24 flavors of fudge. They're open Wednesday 11 until 5, Thursday and Friday 11 until 6, and Saturday 11 until 5. Call 828-447-2041, follow them on Facebook, and register now at the Fudge Shop for 3 giveaways. First prize is a sampler tray. Second prize, America's Fudge t-shirt. Third prize, 1 cone of each glazed nuts. The drawing will be held September the 18th. Hurry by America's Fudge Shop and enter today before it's too late.
I've tried those cinnamon flavored nuts. Cashews are my favorite, and I'll tell you for sure, folks, they are good and they're convenient to carry around in that cup. You can just stroll down the street and eat those nuts, or sit and watch the ball game, or go by and try them. Tell them you want to try those cinnamon roasted nuts you heard us talking about. Now we're going up to Fairfield Mountains Fire District. Gary Wilson standing by to give us the news. Good morning, Gary.
Hi, Jim. Making me hungry already this morning.
Boy, I tell you, they are good. I could have a patch up right now if I had them in front of me.
Good old handful of them. They taste pretty good, wouldn't it?
They would.
Everything pretty peaceful up here this morning. Getting a little light sprinkle of rain a while ago. It lasted for a couple of minutes, but dark and overcast, so we may have more on the way. Chance of it today anyway, and sound like later on for the weekend, first week, the heat's going to come back.
Yes.
I get for around 90 according to long-range forecast, so it's still summer for a while yet, but all we'll get here. We'll be wishing it was summertime again, probably about November.
I saw some lightning flashing around the horizon this morning as I was coming in.
I heard a little rumble myself this morning back toward McDowell County, back in there. Sounded like a little bit of rumbling going on back in there. We may get a few showers today. Fire call-wise, we've been quiet the last 24 hours. Bills Creek's had 1 call, I believe, in the last 24, so everything pretty quiet on that end, and getting ready for the hump day today. Get it past, heading toward the weekend. And that's about all we got, Jim. Everything going along pretty good up here this morning.
Thanks, Gary. I do appreciate you. Thanks for keeping your eye on things for us, and we'll check back in with you on Thursday.
All right, talk to you then.
Thanks.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Bob Hodge is always up and at 'em bright and early, and let's check in with him at the Hudlow Fire District, find out what's been going on. Good morning, Bob.
Well, good hump day morning.
It is, yes.
We're doing just fine up here this morning. I heard a little thunder earlier this morning. We've had a little sprinkle of rain over here. Looks like everything's moved on out right now, so look like according to weather, we might get some more thunder showers later this evening there. If you go out, you might better take your umbrella with you or something there. And might get caught out in some rain. And with the fire department, it's been pretty quiet. We hadn't had any fire calls overnight. So everything's going along good this morning, and that's about it up here this morning.
I do appreciate you. Thanks for being there for us and giving us the report, and I'll talk to you again next time.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bob Hodge out of the Hudlow Fire District there, 26 now past 7.
Another season has come and gone, and you're still looking at that same sad-looking sofa or recliner. Well, now's the time to change the inside of your home to look as pretty as the spring and summer colors outside. And the perfect place to start is the Recliner Center. Right now at the Recliner Center, everything is 20% off. That's 20% off sofas, recliners, sofa recliners. If someone you love is having trouble standing, the Recliner Center has all lift chairs on sale for 10% off. All lift chairs, 10% off. Now, some of these chairs can take you from a standing position, then safely back down to a sitting position with no effort on your part whatsoever. Angela is cleaning out merchandise to make room for more. So now's your chance to redecorate your home and take advantage of the great savings at the Recliner Center. All lift chairs, 10% off. Everything else is 20% off. Angela is seeing folks by appointment only, so call 828-395-3562. Call her today. The Recliner Center. They're on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
And over in the Cherry Mountain Fire District, that's where we find Sue Price with our Wednesday morning report. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Jim.
Everything looking good in your perspective this morning?
So far, everything's looking okay. Sounds like we're going to get a little rain around today, though.
Yeah, according to one of the apps I have, looks like the next thunderstorm may come in here around 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock, somewhere along in there. But we may get rain off and on until that time. But it's going to be one of those iffy days.
Well, everybody just be careful. Let's see, I didn't have any calls from the fire department. I have one birthday on my church calendar for Billy McFarland, so I hope Billy's going to have a good day. And on my personal calendar, I've got Sherry Airwood. And let's see what Fairview has. They've got a birthdays for Ava Smith and Madison Smith. So I hope the little twins will have a good day today. And we hope anybody that's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day and enjoy it. And I don't have any announcements, so it's just quiet and calm over this way right now, and we're looking for a good day, whatever happens. You have a good one, Jim.
Thanks, Sue. You have a good one as well, and I will see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. To win in sports, you must adjust your strategy as the game changes. The same is true of investments. Why not let Andrew Tisdale, your Edward Jones financial advisor, help you create a game plan for financial success? Call 828-287-9197 and get started today. That's Andrew Tisdale at Edward Jones Financial Advisor, 828-287-9197. Speaking of games, Friday night, our high school football game of the week schedule is Cherryville at Chase. That's a 7 o'clock countdown. 7:30 kickoff. We'll have that game for you. Should everything go well, nobody gets sick, everything's run on the course as it should, and we'll have a high school football game Friday night. And Mr. Friday Night will be on with us Friday morning to talk a little bit about the upcoming lineup. And we're going up to Shingle Hollow Fire District, Shingle Holler Fire District, and Tina White's on the phone to give us the news. Good morning.
Good morning from Shingle Holler.
Do people call it Shingle Hollow or Shingle Holler?
Either way. I think out-of-towners call it Shingle Holler, and the people who live here call it Shingle Holler.
Shingle Holler.
Oh, well, it's a little gloomy up here, it looks like, outside this morning. There was some thunder rolling, and the ground's a little wet, so we had some showers this morning early. Shingle Hollow Fire Department was all quiet. Green Hill, I'm assuming they were all quiet too. I tried to get in touch with Tony this morning, and he must be busy, the chief there at Green Hill. And the birthday calendars on Pleasant Grove, we have Miss Cindy Tomlin. Hope she has a great day. And on my Piney Knob doesn't have anybody, but my personal calendar, Miss Donna Brackett, that's my cousin. I hope she has a great birthday. She's just a few months older than me, so I always rub it in. She's older than I am today. And that's all I've got going on up here. There's nothing big going on. I think everybody's just taking it day by day and trying to stay safe, and that's it.
Rolling with the punches.
Rolling with the punches, yes. That's a good way to put it.
Well, I hope you continue to improve and stay happy up there, and we will check back in with you tomorrow. Keep us posted on the news.
Okay. Thank you very much, and everybody stay safe.
See you
Bye-bye.
Bye. 32 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Hump Day Wednesday morning. It is the 8th day of the month, and the Braves had a good night last night over the Nationals. They beat them 8-5, and they will be playing the Nationals again this evening. It's 7:15 first pitch.
Excuse me, this coffee looks small.
That's our new large. The new large size is our old tall size, and the new tall is the old small.
So this is your small?
Nope, that's a new large, like you ordered.
Right.
These days, everything seems smaller. So we're going bigger with the Bigger Spin from the North Carolina Education Lottery. New scratch-offs with a chance at a live spin on the Bigger Spin prize wheel for 2 million big ones. And that's huge. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.62. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. Now let's head up toward Union Mills to get the Kelly report from the top of the hill there with Brenda Kelly. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you on this wonderful wet Wednesday morning?
Is it raining up there now?
Well, it ain't right now, but it has been. We had some thunder boomers to come through somewhere about, 15 after 5:30, somewhere along in there. And it was raining pretty good, but I don't think it's raining right now, but it's gloomy.
It is a gloomy morning, isn't it?
Yeah, so.
Well, it's have to brighten it up.
We just have to put a smile on our face.
There you go. I'm smiling. Are you?
Yeah. It's a good day to be alive. We can get everything done on the inside we hadn't got done in a while.
Yes. Well, that's one way to look at it.
But let's see, I've got 68 degrees on the front porch. I don't have any birthdays or anniversaries, and I don't have any announcements, so everything's just quiet up here. So, I hope it stays that way.
No groundhogs or anything, huh?
I ain't seen no groundhogs. I ain't seen no snakes, but I don't venture out a lot in the summertime around here because of rattlesnakes. So, and little man, he's been laid up, so he ain't seen a whole lot. But
how's he doing?
well, he's all right. He's doing all right. He's still on crutches. He can't stand his weight on his leg, but I guess it'll just take time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
any word on when he might be able to go back to work?
I have no idea. He quit going to the doctor.
You did?
Yeah, the doctor said I think he went either 3 or 4 times, and the doctor would take X-rays and tell him he's healing just fine and everything looked just fine. And he said, "I ain't going no more for that doctor to tell me that every time. Me have to pay him $100." So he quit going.
Well, as long as he's improving, that's the main thing.
Yeah, he's improving. He can do a lot more than he was doing. He's able to drive and stuff like that, and he can stand up, but he can't. He stands more or less on one leg than on two.
Mm-hmm. He's not able to get back in that truck though yet, is he?
No, he can't get back in the truck because lots of times he has to unload everything, and he just can't do that yet.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, he'll get there.
But it'll just take time.
He's probably enjoying being pampered by you.
He's pampered. He's always been pampered. But it is what it is. I said, I wish you'd hurry up and get better. I'm tired of having to do everything, every little thing. Cut the grass, do all the cooking, do all the emptying of the trash, taking the trash off. I mean, everything.
My goodness.
I have to do it.
My goodness. It's terrible.
But, yeah, it is.
Well, you keep up the good work.
Okay, you have a good day.
I'll see you next time.
Catch you later.
Bye-bye. That's the Kelly Report out of Union Mills. Brenda Kelly, 736.
Hey, folks, Farmer's Friend Feed Seed Supply is an amazing store. I can say that because they have what you need. From pet supplies to fire and ant killer to horse-quality Timothy alfalfa hay, $14 per bale. Attention carp fishermen, they have C&J flavoring, only $8 per bottle. And they have oats for sale. Refill your propane tanks at the lowest price. Fully stocked with all your deer supplies and a great selection of farm implements. Need mulch? $12 per scoop. We could call it a superstore. Farmer's Friend Feed Seed Supply, 188 Whiteside Road in Rutherfordton.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Mr. Gilligan, I presume.
You are correct on that.
Well, it's good. It's good to meet you. Heard a lot of good things about you.
It's good to be here. Watching the rain.
Is it raining over there?
It just is a bare mist.
Yeah.
But if it gets much harder, it's going to get things wet.
Well, I hope you don't kink up your hair.
No, it won't mess up my hair, and I try to stay out of the rain where it don't melt. I stay inside. I walk between the drops. That's what I do. But it's quiet there this morning. Nothing going on. Everybody just getting their gas and heading on out to work. Get the middle of the weekend. And see, the fire department, they had 3 calls yesterday, all the medical calls. We went to set up one landing zone down in Race Path, pick up a patient, and fly them out. And other than that, things being quiet, but we want week's half birthday today to Miss Frances Bailey. She's having a birthday today, so hope she has a great day. And Jim, hope you have a great day up there. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Well, I hope you have a great day over there as well. And we're looking forward to coming over there. We're going to be broadcasting one night from the Ellen Barrow Colfax Free Fair. So we're looking forward to having you come by and say a word or two with us.
I'll be by somewhere.
And probably with a funnel cake.
With a funnel cake, the hot dog, the barbecue or the regular cakes or whatever, wherever something needs at, that's where I'll be.
They learned not to set us up near all that stuff. We set up down near the exhibit hall. If we were to be set up around the funnel cakes and the hot dogs and hamburgers, we'd do all that munching during the show and not doing any interviewing of anybody. So they're smart.
Well, now, that's right. But the fair is going to run from the 21st to 25th. It'll run from 6 to 9 p.m. Monday through Tuesday through Friday, and it'll start up at 2 o'clock, or I guess the rides will start at 1 because they're going to have armbands from 1 to 5. But the gym will open at 2, from 2 till 9, and we'll be having the exhibits open, but we won't be having competitive exhibits this year.
Oh, yeah?
Won't be no green beans or watermelons or none of that stuff. They decided against that because of the COVID.
Yeah. No art exhibits, just either no
yeah,
art.
we'll have the art exhibits and all that stuff. We'll have plenty of stuff in there, and all the vendors will be in there and all that stuff.
Well,
everything will be just like it was, except for we won't have the farming and craft in there.
Sure, that's
Won't have
understandable.
that.
All right, my friend.
Yeah.
You hope you'll keep things straight for us over there and check in with us. We'll do that tomorrow, and we look forward to hearing you this afternoon.
All right, take care.
See you now, Luther Gilligan. He'll be on each afternoon as well with the report. Now it's time for birthdays and anniversaries for you to call that into us. We'll celebrate on this gloomy Wednesday morning. Let's cheer things up with birthdays and anniversaries. That phone number is 287-3356, 287-3356. You know what? I think nothing strikes fear in the hearts of people more than receiving an IRS audit letter in the mail. Audits take much time away from your business and family, requiring you to gather mounds of records and can become overwhelming for you. Unless you have someone you can depend on to take care of that for you. That's why we can recommend IE Accounting and Tax Service. Chris and his team of professionals are in the business to help. Even if you depended on someone else to prepare your taxes, IE Accounting and Tax Service will be glad to assist you or your company. Don't hesitate to call them. As a small business owner, you have more important things to do than keep your own books, so why not let IE Accounting and Tax Service take care of that for you so you can get back to the job of running your business. Consider the payroll solutions for your business, cash flow management, litigation support, QuickBooks. They'll train you in QuickBooks and help you with that. They also are forensic investigators. So if you got some questions about books and displacement of monies and those kind of things, they can help you with that. Why not give them a call and see what they can do for your business? Here's that phone number. It's 828-395-1777. Again, that's 395-1777. They're located at 211 West Main Street in Spindale, and IE Accounting and Tax Service is spelled A-R-Y-E-E. Call them and let them help you. Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. Imagine being surrounded by comfort. At Immaculate Heating and Air Conditioning, they offer ultimate home comfort by Coleman. They will install a Coleman high-efficiency heating and cooling system and handle any service and maintenance, all for one low monthly payment with zero out-of-pocket costs for 10 years. That's right, 10 years with no service or repair fees, no maintenance fees, no unexpected cost at all. Ultimate home comfort. It's more comfort all around. Contact Nathan Blackburn at 828-755-5788. That's 755-5788, or visit ImmaculateHeatingandAir.com. Well, Granny B's now is opening at 6:30 in the mornings for those delicious daylight donuts that you've grown accustomed to loving. Yes, they are there for you, and they'd love for you to come by and have a donut, maybe a good cup of coffee. They got some really outstanding coffee there as well. And enjoy a donut or several of them and take some to work with you. They are absolutely different from anything else you'd want. Daylight Donuts, Granny B's now opening at 6:30 in the mornings, so plenty of time for you to stop by on your way to work and pick up some donuts.
Happy birthday.
Nobody admitting to getting older today. No birthdays. Well, the phone's ringing now. Maybe that's a birthday calling in. Nobody is admitting to getting your older. Be proud of it, folks. Be proud you're expressing another birthday, because when you don't have another one, that's it for you. So let's celebrate your birthday anniversary. Kurt McGinnis is having a birthday today, so congratulations, Kurt.
Psalms 91 says, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest under the shadow of the Almighty." As a young teenage boy, I delivered papers in the early morning hours. On those dark mornings, I could get engulfed with fear if I wasn't careful. I well remember riding my bike under one of the dimly lit streetlights, or walking to the side door of one of the houses and being startled by this thing near me. All of a sudden, this thing would be out in front of me, off to my side, or come up in back of me. It more than once spooked me and kept me looking back over my shoulder. The thing was my shadow. But I learned an important lesson about shadows as a youngster, even though I didn't particularly appreciate it at the time. I learned that the source of the shadow is never far away. The psalmist's words are ones of assurance and comfort. God is not far away from those trusting in Him. It is God's shadow that is providing the shade and protection for the weary traveler and pilgrim. You can picture the Lord hovering over him and maintaining a watch, just like a parent sitting on the porch looking out for the well-being of their children playing in the yard. Today, as you go about your tasks, picture in your mind the shadow of God falling upon you, but rather than seeing it as something frightful as I did, think of it as something beautiful and wonderful. Remember, God is close by, watching over you. This is Bill Hostler with today's Key to Confident Living.
The most music
ABC News. I'm Sherry Preston. Classrooms are opening up as COVID cases tick up across the country, including among children.
The U.S. is seeing nearly 4 times the number of infections and double the number of COVID hospitalizations compared to 1 year ago when there was no vaccine. ICUs in several states are overwhelmed with unvaccinated patients.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. Children, of course, cannot be vaccinated yet, but those around them can and should. Brown University School of Public Health Dean Dr. Ashish Jha says, first of all,
if you don't want to get vaccinated for yourself, get vaccinated for your kids. And second, we've got to push the FDA to get kids under 12 vaccinated as soon as that data is available. I don't want bureaucratic slow-ups on that.
The Taliban releasing the names of those who will be running the government in Afghanistan. It includes an interior minister who is wanted by the FBI and an intelligence minister who spent time at Guantanamo Bay. Here's ABC News Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz.
In their first official statement, the newly appointed leaders say they will take steps to protect human rights, but they have already disbanded the Ministry of Women's Affairs, the lead agency for promoting women's rights.
A powerful earthquake in Acapulco this morning.
Tourists and locals ran into the streets of the Pacific resort city as a magnitude 7 earthquake centered 12 miles underground shook the entire region. It was felt as far away as Mexico City, 230 miles inland. The extent of the damage isn't clear, but the governor of Acapulco's Guerrero state told a local television station that a man there was killed by a falling pole. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Elizabeth Holmes' fraud trial begins today in Silicon Valley. She is accused of setting up a bogus blood testing company into which investors pumped millions. Britney Spears' father Jamie asking a judge to remove him from the conservatorship that has run his daughter's life for the past 13 years. You're listening to ABC News.
Vaccines are not enough, and accurate thermometers are essential for everyone. COVID is once again a major concern, and fever is the key symptom for both the flu and COVID. An accurate thermometer, like the Exergen temporal scanner, is essential to detect fevers early and reliably. Studies have shown that non-contact thermometers are ineffective and therefore dangerous, as they create a false sense of security. Exergen is working with a single focus to ensure that everyone who needs an accurate thermometer can purchase one. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Pro football season's here, and pro roofers save valuable time with Beacon Pro Plus. Beacon Pro Plus works 24/7 for material ordering, order history, and automated promotion tracking, so you can get your favorite GAF roofing products even when working remotely. And now, order on Beacon Pro Plus and get a $175 gift card and the chance for a VIP pro football getaway. Gear up and raise your game with Beacon Pro Plus today. Build, score, and win at BECN.com.
Right now in Richmond, Virginia, work crews are starting to take down a 12-ton statue of General Robert E. Lee, one of the largest Confederate monuments in the country. It will be removed and moved to a state-owned storage facility. Repairs continue in the power grid in Louisiana. A week and a half after Ida, there are still more than 300,000 power outages across the state. Electric company Entergy says it should have most of the power restored in New Orleans by tonight. Underway now in Paris, the first day of the trial of 20 suspects in the terror attacks in Paris 6 years ago that left 130 dead and hundreds hurt.
Justice grinds slowly, but finally the horror of those days are to be examined in the courtroom. November 13th, 2015. 9 gunmen and suicide bombers struck at the Bataclan Hall, cafes, and at the National Soccer Stadium. The main man charged, Salah Abdeslam, who ditched his car and a malfunctioning suicide vest and ultimately fled to a hideout in his hometown of Brussels. 5 of the 6 being tried in absentia are presumed dead. The whereabouts of one man is unknown. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
Cashiers will soon be a thing of the past in a pair of Whole Food stores. Amazon, which owns the chain, says next year one store in D.C. and another in California will use technology that will let shoppers grab their items and just leave. Their Amazon account will be charged on the way out. This is ABC News.
You love Zoom for video meetings? Now, choose Zoom to power your phone communications too. Zoom Phone works seamlessly within the Zoom app as your business phone system. Zoom Phone's secure HD audio and enterprise-grade reliability keep you connected to your teams and your customers. And it's easy to use on mobile, desktop, or desk phone. Empower your workforce with Zoom Phone. Zoom, how the world connects.
Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Today we're going to see temperatures climb into the mid to upper 80s. We're tracking showers and thunderstorms to roll in, and some could be strong to severe, packing a punch with gusty winds and the potential for a few pockets of heavy rainfall. Overnight we'll fall into the upper 50s and lower 60s with showers around. We are going to see those highs reach the low to mid 80s for tomorrow, with rain moving out early, drier conditions by the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Pete, we have experienced some minor raindrops here in the area earlier this morning. It's still cloudy. It looks like it could start any moment, and the threat of showers will be with us throughout most of the day and tonight, but only a slight chance tonight, about 30% chance. Precipitation amounts less than 1/10 of an inch possible. Starting tomorrow, Thursday, and the weekend, absolutely beautiful. Highs around 83 Thursday, 83 on Friday. And then on Saturday, it's warming up to about 85, then 88 on Sunday, and 91 Monday of next week. So temperatures are rising up again as we approach mid-September. Again, right now, 71 degrees and cloudy here at WCAB. 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Here on, we got stuff to talk about this morning, news from here and there. We would normally have the commissioner's report yesterday, and because they would have normally met Monday night, but Monday night, of course, was Labor Day, so the commissioner met last night, and the chairman and I talked about this transition, but I'm not sure I cleared myself up with him, so we may not be able to have that this morning. We'll need to be on this time block because of the 30-minute program at the bottom of the hour. So if we don't have it on, we'll have to pass it up this week, this month, and get it next month. So I don't know. He may call, he may not. So I may have confused him. I'm good at that, confusing people when I'm unclear myself what's happening. But it looks like it could very well be a confusing day weather-wise, cloudy with a whole lot of clouds out there, a whole lot of rain perhaps coming. But we'll see if Brian calls in this morning. We'll have the report. If he doesn't, we'll move right on as though we know what we're doing. Got some news from here and there, though, right after this.
Excuse me, this coffee looks small.
That's our new large. The new large size is our old tall size, and the new tall is the old small.
So this is your small?
Nope, that's a new large, like you ordered.
Right.
These days, everything seems smaller. So we're going bigger with the Bigger Spin from the North Carolina Education Lottery. New scratch-offs with a chance at a live spin on the Bigger Spin prize wheel for 2 million big ones. And that's huge. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.62. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Some stories this morning from here and there. Forest City Fire and Rescue in the town of Forest City will hold a Patriot Day ceremony Saturday, beginning at 10 o'clock at the Forest City Pavilion on Park Square. Prior to the ceremony, emergency vehicles from local fire responder units will open with a display on Mill Street beginning at 8:30. Patriot Day is the annual observance on September the 11th to remember those who died in the 2001 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City, the Pentagon in Washington, and those who perished on United Airlines Flight 93. It also recognizes those first responders who died attempting to rescue people trapped by the attackers. This year marks the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attack. You believe it's been 20 years since that happened? Forest City Fire and Rescue in the town of Forest City have commemorated 9/11 each year since the attack. Colonel Christy Haynes, a Forest City native who recently retired from the U.S. Air Force, is a guest speaker for the year's ceremony. Haynes is a graduate of East Rutherford High School, attended Isotherma Community College before graduating from UNC Charlotte with a double major in criminal justice and political science. She attended law school at the University of Tulsa in Oklahoma. After closing remarks by Forest City Fire and Rescue Chief Farrell Hemrick, the program concludes with an emergency vehicle parade. The parade route will leave from Mill Street, take a left on Broadway, left on Main Street, and left on Church Street before ending at the Forest City Fire Department. Hemrick, former Fire Chief Mark McCurry, and others have worked for weeks planning this event. Hemrick said it's hard to know how many to expect, but we want you to do this to remember the sacrifices that people made, especially that day. We need to never forget that. So if you can get out of the house, come to that event and show your respect. Meanwhile, the Daily Courier is reporting that COVID-19 has caused more deaths, with 11 new deaths over the last week among 409 new cases. Rutherford County's 14-day positivity rate remains above 20%, presently at 20.3%. The county's cumulative case total is at 9,334. The county's death toll from the virus is at 254 victims, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services reported on Tuesday. In North Carolina, health officials reported a total of 14,831 fatalities due to the coronavirus, 4,124 new cases, and 3,779 hospitalizations. Data show Rutherford is averaging 19 COVID-related hospitalizations per day. Neighboring Cleveland County is at 50 hospitalizations daily. The Hendersonville Police Department has secured the surrounding area near the Henderson County Historic Courthouse after a bomb threat was called into the office of U.S. Senator Tom Tillis. A press release from the city of Hendersonville said the Henderson County Historic Courthouse was evacuated Tuesday as officials investigated the threat, but staff have since been able to return to the building and nothing was found. Meanwhile, over in Columbus, Polk County face coverings are now mandatory in all Polk County schools for students, staff, and visitors. In a 5-2 vote, the new policy was discussed and approved in less than 40 minutes at an emergency Board of Education meeting Tuesday night. According to Polk County Schools Superintendent Aaron Green, a mask policy was necessary. Green said within the first 2 weeks of classes, more than 550 students and staff have had to quarantine. He says coming back together is essential for America's future. This is the greatest country in the world, he added. If we don't protect it, nobody else will. Well, have you noticed the funny little tanks over in Spindale? Drivers are discovering Spindale's electric vehicle charging stations. Starting 1 week ago on September the 1st, the public is able to charge their electric vehicles at a new station located in downtown. So far, town officials are pleased that residents and visitors have used it. The charging station is located adjacent to the Thermal Belt Rail Trail near parking spaces on Stewart Street. It is almost directly across from the Spindale House on Main Street. Uses of the station, which contains 2 ports allowing 2 vehicles to charge at the same time, has been slow in the first week, but town manager Scott Weber believes as word gets out, more and more people will be using the station. The first person to use it was a visitor from Marion, Weber said. He'd come to Spindale to ride his bike on the rail trail and use the station to charge his car. The charging station may be used for free as a service provided by the town. For now, it's a free amenity, Weber said. I don't see the town charging a fee for the service anytime soon. We are hoping more and more people will use the electric charging station. About 10 vehicles have already been charged at the station, but the number is expected to grow as more learn about it. Spindale's electric vehicle charging station is the first and only one in Rutherford County that is available for use by the general public. So if you have an electric car, there's your place. It's 12 minutes after 8 o'clock here on WCAB's morning wake-up call. Let's see what else we got here. I'll be back with that information in just a moment.
At Smith Drugs of Forest City, we are continue to offer the COVID-19 rapid testing and the COVID-19 vaccinations. Please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591 with any questions or concerns that you may have. You may also visit our website at smithsdrugsfc.com and schedule your COVID rapid 19 test or your vaccination. Again, if you have any questions, please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591.
This is Dwayne Hunt with Insurance Service Associates, wanting to let you know that we have moved. Our new office is located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City. Come see us for auto, home, or your commercial insurance needs. Also come see me, Dwayne Hunt, for your Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or prescription drug plans. See us at Insurance Service Associates, now located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City, or call 828-245-5301.
Sheriff's Report with Officer King coming up here in just about 5 minutes away from right now. Meanwhile, little by little is how our freedoms are being taken away from us. We've heard me talk about that here on the program in the past months and years. But little by little is how those freedoms are taken away, and little by little is what works most effectively because it rarely gets noticed enough to do anything about it. Little foxes kill the vines. They don't come ripping the vines down. They start nibbling away at the vines until the vines are dead. Gaslighting comes along with it to make you think you're making something out of such a tiny, insignificant thing. But those things keep happening one by one. A 15-year-old girl in Eatonville, Washington, volleyball coach told her that she had to wear had to wear an ankle bracelet if she wanted to play on the team. The tracking device was to be worn to help ensure proper social distancing between the young lady and other athletes on the team. When social distancing rules are not followed, the monitor will track the event and alarm the user. The ankle monitor is called Trace Tag, and is a tracking device for every movement the girl makes throughout the day. A company called Triax invented the technology worn around the ankle of the athlete. Makers of the Trace Tag claim the device will make people safer by maintaining proper social distancing. The device will help workers and athletes get back to normal life much faster, says the tracking device makers. The company goes on to state that in the event of COVID-19 is contracted, the log of information the device gathers could be the key to having successful contact tracing efforts. Well, the girl's mother had no clue the volleyball teacher made her wear the tracking device on her ankle. So her mother tried calling, and no one answered the phone for her. But they're protesting that fact. It's like an inmate having to have an ankle bracelet for in-home security. What is it they're doing to us, folks? Everybody's so afraid of everything, it seems, anymore, but except right things. Nobody seems to be afraid of the fact that we're getting close to the end of time. Nobody seems to be afraid of that. Nobody seems to be afraid of the warnings placed in the good book. Nobody seems to be afraid of that, but we're afraid to walk across the street if we haven't been vaccinated. We're afraid to go to a game without everybody getting in a panic. Afraid for a volleyball team to go socialize, and they put a little ankle bracelet on the girls to make sure it goes off when she does visit somebody else. It's crazy. It is crazy indeed. It's hard to imagine that we have come to this point in our life. But this too will pass, we hope. I hope nobody gets to the point of frustration, to the point you just give up. We're not a giving up kind of nation, I don't think. This old boy right here is not a giver-upper. So I hope you're standing with us, and don't give up the principles of what the good old US of A stands for. Don't give up on the principles of what the Judeo-Christian values are all about. Don't give up on the principles of what many of your parents and grandparents taught you. Don't give up on those. We're not giver-uppers. We're rolling with the punches kind of people. We look at ourselves and we recognize, I could do a lot better. I wish I hadn't done that back when, but those back wins have gone. It's time now to look at right now and tomorrow and decide we're going to be fighters, not physically get out on the street and fight people, but I'm talking about fighters against the evil causes that are trying to take over a country. Here's my friend Glenn Mollett. I've talked to him about him before. We've corresponded back and forth with him, and he writes a editorial from time to time. He sends me a copy of it. He says, Jim, feel free to use this. So I'm going to share with you what he has to say. Life is short, he says. The best we can do is the best we can do. If we're doing our best, then what more can we expect from ourselves and others? Most people are doing the best they can with the information and abilities they have. There are some things we can change and some things we can't. Learning to adjust or adapt with what we have and who we are often takes some time and effort. We're all born someplace to someone. Some of us are raised with less than others, and some of us are raised with more than others. Many have a lot to overcome to merely survive in life, while others seem to have it easy. Academics appear to come easier for some people, while others have to study diligently just to make a passing grade. Some are lucky in life while others don't seem so lucky. One of my dear friends is a multimillionaire. He has a great house, a wife, and business galore. Over the last few years, a young son was killed in a car wreck. A daughter was killed in a wreck, and another died from natural causes. Many who don't know the tragedies and heartache that he has experienced assume that his life is great and free from pain. I know he would trade everything he has to have his children back with him. He continues to get up in the mornings. He's still involved in his business, cares for his wife, and cherishes his one remaining daughter. However, life is not as it may seem to be. Another dear friend has prospered with a large family and a successful business. His life looks good until you get to know him better. One of his sons committed suicide in front of him a couple of years ago. Another son recently died in an accident. Within weeks of his son's accident, a grandson was killed in a car wreck. His pain was great. He goes through the motions day by day, trusting God with his life and his remaining children. It's difficult to understand why his family has suffered so much in recent days. Tears flow when he begins to talk about what his family has suffered. Life is not so easy to figure out, is it? We think we have the answers, and then later in life realize we don't know much at all. We thought we had life all figured out when we were very young, but throughout the years, life throws things at us that we just can't possibly see coming. Today, let's consider others. Be kind to our neighbors, acquaintances, and people we meet along the way. A lot of people are hurting from disease, death, unemployment, life's tragedies, or more. Don't judge people by their appearances or their mistakes. Life is not only filled with good, but often pain that most never see. What life seems to be and what life actually is rarely the same. Dr. Glenn Mollett. 21 past the hour. Sheriff's Report with Officer King. Coming up next.
In the past 24 hours, the Sheriff's Department has responded to 198 calls for service. There were 12 arrests processed in the jail, and the jail currently has 208 people incarcerated. On our incident reports, Billy Hicks Williams from Morningstar Lake Road in Forest City reported a case of first-degree trespass. Alina Rodriguez Fisher from Academy Street in Mooresboro reported a financial card fraud. The Avondale Convenience Center on Ellenboro Henrietta Road in Ellenboro reported a case of littering. Shelba Sinclair from Honeycomb Drive in Bostic reported a case of breaking and entering. And Next Generation Plastics from Booger Hollow Road in Ellenboro reported a case of misdemeanor larceny. On our arrest reports, Tammy Mann from Oakland Road in Forest City was arrested and charged with first-degree trespass, received a $1,000 secured bond. Christine Leon, listed as homeless, was served with one count of failure to appear on misdemeanor, received a $750 secured bond. Jason Bishop from Harris Trail in Gaffney, South Carolina, was served with a warrant for a flee to elude arrest with a motor vehicle, received a $10,000 unsecured bond. Antonio Ledbetter from West Court Street in Rutherford was served with one count of failure to appear on misdemeanor, received a $3,000 secured bond. Brooklyn Militello from Leonard Lane in Ellenboro was served with 7 counts of failure to appear on a felony, received a $47,000 secured bond. And Walter Walker from Engineer Road in Bostic was served with one count of failure to appear on misdemeanor and received a $500 secured bond. And that's all we have for today.
WCAB, the music's on us.
And we'll be back after 9 o'clock this morning with some classic oldies for your enjoyment. Walk you down memory lane with those and see how many of those you remember from when you were dating or proposing to be married or something. Many of those songs will bring back a lot of memories. That's why we're getting good, favorable response from our classic oldies format here at WCAB. Be sure to hang around and tune up for that. Sports is coming up next. Following Sports Update, Word of Faith Fellowship radio program is all right here exclusively on the Mighty 590 and WCAB 100.9 FM.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. Albert Pujols rewarded an adoring crowd by hitting a home run in his return to Busch Stadium last night. He sent the Dodgers to a 7-2 win over the St. Louis Cardinals.
It's always pretty special, anytime that you come over here in St. Louis, with the history that I went here and the fans, and just really a great moment once again, and was huge.
Justin Turner homered twice, and Will Smith also went yard for the Dodgers, who stayed with the Giants in the NL West, who are leading the division. They also won, beating Colorado 12-3. Padres lefty Blake Snell took a perfect game into the seventh inning, but he let it go, walking two batters and allowing Joe Adell's line to left on the 96th pitch of the game, which drove in 2 runs, and word to the Angels 4-0 final over San Diego. Snow is trying for the Majors' 9th no-hitter of the year. Georgia has moved up 3 spots to number 2 behind Alabama in the AP Top 25 poll. That gives the SEC the top 2 teams in the country for the 30th time in the history of the AP poll. Ohio State moved up to number 3. Oklahoma dropped 2 spots to 4, and Texas A&M is 5th. Clemson fell 3 spots to number 6 after losing to Georgia. Carolina falling 13 spots. They're 24th now after dropping its opener to Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. Earlier this week, Heels coach Mack Brown reiterated that his team's preseason ranking was overhyped.
Shame we lost, but probably the best thing to happen to us. We're not the 10th best team in the country. We got back down to earth. We got a lot of work to do. And a lot of those things were exposed on Friday night that have to be fixed. Our program's still ahead of what it should be. We'll get better.
Duke has reason to celebrate despite losing the first game of the season to UNC Charlotte. Blue Devils running back Mateo Durant named one of the ACC Players of the Week for his performance on Friday night. The senior rushed for 29 times for a school single-game record of 255 yards and 3 touchdowns. This is NCN Sports.
If you want the nation's best auto insurer, look no further than North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Rated #1 in Crash Network's Insurer Report Card, we're the only insurer in the nation to receive an A+ rating from auto body shops in 2020 and 2021. Our philosophy is simple. Be fair, be quick, be the best. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
For 33 years, Merlefest, presented by Winter World, has delivered music, moments, and memories to thousands. Join us September 16th through the 19th and hear Sturgill Simpson, Tedeschi Trucks Fireside Live Tour, Melissa Etheridge, Mavis Staples, Margot Price, Leanne Rhymes, Johnny Swim, Shovels and Rope, We Banjos 3, The Milk Carton Kids, Balsam Range, Sam Bush, Jim Lauderdale, John Cowan, the Kruger Brothers, and more. Visit merlefest.org today for the full lineup, to volunteer, or to purchase tickets.
At the U.S. Open, Daniil Medvedev has reached the U.S. Open semifinals for a 3rd straight year. He will face 12-seeded Felix Auger-Aliassime of Canada in the semis. 2nd-seeded Arina Sabalenka of Belarus, these names are crazy, has reached the semis in the women's draw. She'll face Leylah Fernandez, much easier, who advanced to the semis a day after turning 19. A New York Court of Appeals has agreed to hear the long-running dispute between the Baltimore Orioles and Washington Nationals over television rights fees. MASN was established in March 2005 after the Montreal Expos relocated to Washington and became the Nats, moving into what had been Baltimore's exclusive broadcast territory dating back to the 1970s. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Today we're going to see temperatures climb into the mid to upper 80s. We're tracking showers and thunderstorms to roll in, and some could be strong to severe, packing a punch with gusty winds and the potential for a few pockets of heavy rainfall. Overnight we'll fall into the upper 50s and lower 60s with showers around. We are going to see those highs reach the low to mid 80s for tomorrow, with rain moving out early, drier conditions by the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
We have 71 degrees currently and still cloudy out there. We may get some rain later today, maybe noonish, a little 2 o'clock-ish kind of thing. And then tomorrow, from more on all the way through Tuesday of next week, it's beautiful outdoor kind of loving weather. It's 8:30. This is WCAB Rutherfordton. It's time now for the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. And with the program this morning is Joe English and Butch Maltby.
Good morning, Rutherford County. It is such an incredible delight and privilege every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for Word of Faith Fellowship, our church, through this radio program in partnership with WCAB, Word of Faith Speaks, to come to you and just open our hearts, just share what God's doing in our hearts and lives. And it's an extra privilege today that I have the chance to be again with my dear friend and brother in the Lord, Joe English. And we're going to be talking about something that is important for all of us. If you're in the sound of our voice right now, we're going to be talking about a topic that relates specifically to you. And what Joe and I are going to do is just open up our hearts and talk about the consequences of rebellion and the fruits of obedience. You know, Scripture, you go all through Scripture, and Joe, it's so clear. The whole story of the Bible is God declaring to his people, this is what I want you to do. And in more cases than not, the children of Israel and others disobeying and then having to deal with the consequences of that disobedience. You look at all the way back to Genesis 1 in the Garden of Eden, the whole story of how sin came into the world. Did God really say? Became the seeds of rebellion later. You look at the story of Jacob. You look at Jonah. You look at Saul. Jonah, God said go. Jonah said no. You look at Saul. You look at David. You look at Solomon. Don't take foreign wives. And he did. You look at Peter in the New Testament. The whole story of the Bible is the story of God declaring, this is what I want you to do, and people disobeying and the consequences of that. So today, Joe and I are going to talk a little bit about how our lives were impacted by our disobedience and what God's been doing in our hearts since. So, Joe, this is going to be great. I always love being with you because you know what? What happens is that God stirs in the moment. We don't have a lot of scripted notes here. Yeah. It's like, Jesus, just speak through us. So it's great to be able to do this today.
Yeah. When you were speaking, I thought about, you go to church and the pastor's up there telling you how to live your life. And 12 o'clock comes, everybody's hopefully not looking at their watches, 12, and you walk out the door and you totally don't obey.
Right.
What the message was, even though you were sitting there going, you felt God touching your heart going, you know what, that's right. That needs a change in my life. And you go out and you're like a different person. But you know what? We do that all our lives.
We do.
We've done it all of our lives, and that's something that has got to switch because you'll never receive the word of God.
That is so true, Joe. And you know what happens is every time God directs us to do something and we say no, or in my case, I know growing up, I was one of those quietly rebellious people. I made really good grades in school. You get straight A's, you're real involved in activities. Everybody thinks everything's okay, but it wasn't. My heart was dark. And every time God says do something or don't do something, and we reject the call of God in our heart, what happens, Joe, is callous gets in there. So we can go in and the Spirit of God can be stirring just like the pool of Siloam. And what happens? We don't notice anything because our heart is dark.
And you make a mental assent to that in your heart. Instead of going in your heart and changing the callousness, it just pushes it away.
Exactly. And here's a great example in the Old Testament. We've got so many verses, but one in particular that I want to mention. It's in Numbers chapter 20, and it starts in verse 8, and this is the story of Moses and the children of Israel and the water of Meribah. Let me go ahead and read these verses real quick, and then we can reflect on how this applies to everyone's life. It says in verse 8, take the rod, and you and your brother Aaron assemble the congregation and speak to the rock in front of them, so that it will pour out its water. God gave a command there, speak to the rock. In this way, you shall bring water for them out of the rock, and let the congregation and their livestock drink fresh water. Very clear assignment, very clear direction from God. So Moses took the rod from before the Lord, just as he had commanded him. He was obeying. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly before the rock. Moses said to them, listen now, you rebels. Must we bring you water out of this rock? Then Moses raised his hand in anger, and with his rod he struck the rock twice instead of speaking to the rock as the Lord had commanded. And the water poured out abundantly, and the congregation and their livestock drank fresh water. But The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, because you have not believed or trusted me to treat me as holy in the sight of the sons of Israel, you therefore shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them. That's rebellion.
Yeah.
That's rebellion. And that's what happens in our hearts, Joe, isn't it? When God speaks to us and we either say, I didn't hear, or that wasn't clear, or we quietly or openly, brazenly purpose, I'm just not going to obey God today.
Yeah.
And in your life, Joe, you know, we had the opportunity recently, you know, Joe and I text during the days, and we often call each other because it says in Scripture we're to be like iron sharpening iron. We're to encourage each other. In the book of James, chapter 5, it tells us we're to confess our sins one to another. And in our church, we purpose to live truly, speak truly, and live accountably. And so recently we had the opportunity to talk, and we shared some pictures. And there's actually a picture of you, Joe, in 1976, and a picture of me in 1976. And we started reflecting on everything that was in our hearts then, the journey, which has been painful at points and almost up to death along the way, and what's God's doing in our hearts now. And so there's going to be the opportunity for people to see the picture of you in 1976, the picture of me in 1976, and what God's done. But tell us a little bit about, in those 45 years, Joe, tell us a little bit so that people can be encouraged that nothing is hopeless. God can change any heart. Tell us a little bit about the 45 years.
When you sent me the picture, your picture, I immediately thought of the picture that the people are going to see. And back then, well, let me go back. I was always a rebellious child. Like you said you hit it, no, I was just totally...
You were out there.
I was totally rebellious. You know, they were tantrums with used to lay on the floor and scream and holler. And but anyways, you know, that one, I didn't do that when I was growing up, but I ended up having surgery on my foot.
Okay. You were young when
I was young when I had surgery on my foot. I had an ankle tumor. They put me in they fused my ankle. I had to wear a brace, and the children made fun of me. It was not a good situation.
And you were young, and that was painful. That hurt, didn't it?
Oh, it hurt. Yeah, I could see back where my drug problem, my drug addiction came in at a very young age. I understood being medicated at 12 years old. So, but all my life, you know, out of having that happen to me, I decided that I was going to call the shots, as they say.
Right.
I decided, okay, you're going to make fun of me, you're going to do this, I'll show you. Literally, I can remember in my heart saying, I'll show you one day.
And that became a door, didn't it?
Oh, it became a door to trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I had trouble all my life. And in the picture that you see, I was with Paul McCartney and Wings. We were on the world tour. Mm-hmm. I lived in Georgia.
And even your drumming, which was critically acclaimed, your drumming was really, in many ways, I'll show you.
It was the drumming thing. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that. I played, as you call it, backwards. The way I learned, I learned. In the world's eyes, wrong, because I did it the way I wanted to do it. Even that, I said, no, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it.
So what I'm hearing you say is, even in your rebellion, you were going to be rebellious.
Yeah,
it's like, if this is the way that the world does it, if this is the typical way to do it, I'm not going to do it. I'll say this real quickly. Here's an example of rebellion. When I was younger, after church, we would go to McDonald's often, and we'd have something to eat. It wasn't real healthy, but we'd have something to eat, and every single person in the family would order a cheeseburger and a Coke. And I would order a fish sandwich and an orange crush because I didn't want to be like anybody. I wanted to be different, and that was rebellion. That was rebellion in my heart. So anyway, so you learned the drums, and you went on a path, and then what happened? All of this is rebellion.
Yeah, we need 5-6 shows of an hour apiece when you were talking about rebellion. But I ended up where I I wanted to call the shots. And when I got the job with Paul McCartney, of course, he was the boss, but all of a sudden, there's a culmination of everything. I'll show you.
Right.
Back when I was young.
Right.
Here I am. I got it. I'll show you. You can't tell me anything. You can't tell me. You want to talk about my dad or my mom would call me a hard head. You couldn't tell me anything because I took the fame and I took what fortune there was and used that as, well, an unsaid.
Yeah. What do you have to tell me?
You have nothing to tell me.
You have nothing to tell me. And Joe, tell people, for those who don't know, just tell them real quickly what the fruits of that rebellion were in your life. Because, it says that in Scripture that sin for a season can seem pleasant, but it's not. There's a bitter fruit that comes from our rebellion. Just as Moses, can you think of it? I mean, he was leading the children of Israel to the promised land. And because in that moment where God said, this is the way I want you to do it, he said no, and he struck the rock twice. The thing he had given his life for, he never saw. So we all have consequences to our rebellion. I know for my alcoholism, there were consequences for that sin in my life. What were some of the consequences for you? Because we want people to know directly there are consequences.
Drug addiction, serious drug addiction. I had many occasions where I woke up and was overdosed and don't even remember where I was and what house I was in or anything. But it was the mercy of God that kept me, because we wouldn't be sitting here.
Right.
And stories you've told me, you wouldn't be sitting here.
That's right, Joe.
Telling people. The other day when we were texting each other, inside of me it was like something wanted to explode that, if you're listening to this program and you have something in your life that has to change, or somebody, a family member, a friend who's in trouble, they need to change. There's nothing's gonna work. I went to one of the best treatment centers in the country for drug addiction. And it didn't take long after being there that I was going to do this the way I wanted to do it.
Joe.
And it didn't work, obviously.
It didn't work. And you know what? In the spirit of that, my alcoholism came late in life, but I was what they call a functioning alcoholic, but I was not functioning at all. I was on my way to hell through daily decisions to medicate my pain through alcohol. And I remember saying to my then wife, I'm going to go to a treatment program. I went to a place called the Calvary Center in Phoenix, Arizona. It was very expensive. They talked about how great they were. The second day I was there, the executive director came up to me and he said, is your name Butch Maltby? He said, I think I heard you at the Direct Marketing Association. You did one of the plenary addresses there. And he said, you know what? The schedule here is going to be pretty rigorous. He said, this is ahead of a treatment program. You seem like you're doing okay after the second or third day here. He said, I'm going to make you a little office in the executive office. And if you can go ahead and help us with our marketing, our communication, our fund development, and our branding, he said, you don't have to go to all those classes and everything else. Joe, you know what? That's the story of my life. And in my rebellion, rather than say, you know what, I'm here to get better, get help, which they were never going to be able to give, I lived in that seduction for so long.
It was the same with me. They all, I'm dying and going to hell, tormented, addicted, and everybody wants to, here it is, you ready? What was Paul McCartney really like?
Yeah.
And my insides were like, why don't you help me? Who cares about the past? And that only happened when I came to North Carolina to the Word of Faith. I finally met somebody who didn't want to know about Paul McCartney. They put their hand on my shoulder and went, I love you, and you got problems, but I'm going to help you get a breakthrough. Never, ever, ever, ever in my entire life had anybody confronted me.
Joe,
it was the love of God.
Yeah, you know what? And folks, I'm going to tell you this. We're talking about the seeds of rebellion and the fruits of obedience. In a similar kind of way, Joe, I remember when I first came to this church, And, you know, I'd done marketing consulting for all, if people know a major ministry, it's likely, that's not an exaggeration, it's not hyperbolic. I likely at some point worked with them. And I remember I'd been here for just a little bit, and I saw that there were so many attacks against our church and the community, which I didn't understand at all. So I wrote out, I've told this story before, I wrote out an almost 7-page strategic brief on everything that our church needed to do to deal with problems in the community. And I gave it to somebody to give to our pastor, Jane Whaley. And it was good work. It was fleshly work, but it was good work for that world that I lived in. And then I had one of the other pastors come back to me and say, that's not how we do things here. We hear from Jesus. And I remember, and I wept, and I still weep to this day. I remember Mom, I call her Mom because she's a spiritual mother to me. I remember my pastor looking at me and saying, we're not interested in what you can do for us. I'm not interested in what you can do for us, Butch. I'm interested in Jesus changing your heart. Right. And Joe, I had never had one global Christian leader ever say that to me before. Right. And God used that like a hot knife into my soul so that I could know, you know what, this is a place where God's going to change my heart, because I was incredibly rebellious, and you were too, weren't you?
We needed that because we were the rebels of rebels. Mm-hmm. We were rebels, and it's funny when you were saying that, because when I came here and I met my pastor, Jane Whaley, she didn't care anything about.
Exactly.
She knew I was a tormented man, and if you submit your heart and you repent, God will deliver you. But there's many years I was here, I would obey and not obey. Obey. That rebellion lies deep in the heart, and it'll always want to pull you back to your old ways.
Well, it's like so many of we keep songs in our heart at our church, which is so important to keep a song in our heart. And Joe, when I look up there, because I sit there on like row number 4, and you're to the left in the praise and worship group, and when we sing together as a congregation, God pulverizes those areas of sin in our life if we let Him. And but what both of us know, even though our paths are different, you were born in New York.
Yeah, Rochester,
New York. I was born in Lubbock, Texas. Your life took a path. My life took a path. But we both had trees that were in the orchard of rebellion. Yeah. And those trees produced fruit that in the eyes of the world may have looked pretty, but it was rotten at the core. But I know my spirit, my soul, I would get up and even preach in settings knowing you were such an incredible fake. You were fake follower of Jesus, but I would put it underneath so many layers, Joe, that I thought, and you did too. You even had a point, right, in your life where you were a contemporary Christian musician. Talk about that.
That was the biggest fraud and abomination to God. I got out of the worldly, supposedly, music, and I met somebody who had a Christian record company, and we decided I was going to do Christian music, and I toured all over the world. Had, I don't know how many albums, 4 or 5 albums. I wasn't a Christian.
We didn't know each other, but I knew of you. I knew of you because I was in the Christian marketing world, and I'll just say it because you won't. You know, it was like, there's this hot musician in the Christian world now, and the insecurity of a lot of Christians latched on to, supposed Christians, latched on to your worldly success and said, hey, he's one of us now.
Yeah, well, I was marketed. Formerly, I was, at one time I said, am I going to die? And my last breath will be formerly of Paul McCartney, or what was Paul really like? I mean, who cares? Who cares about that?
Because your identity is not that anymore, Joe.
So that whole stage, that whole contemporary, it came to a crashing end. I came down here. I was living in Pennsylvania. I came down here, and all that, it didn't mean anything. Anything I did in the past. What was important that had major sin in my life, I needed to repent. I needed to humble myself and get help. And it came, but there was a lot of years that went by after I was here where I'd get a breakthrough, then I wanted to keep my sin. But there came a point where it would just say, it's over. It's over.
Right. And you know what, folks? We need to remember this. When people ask the question, what is rebellion? The word rebellion is commonly defined, and this is what Joe and I were. We were rebellious as an act of violent or open resistance to an established government or ruler, the action or process of resisting authority, control, or convention. In this case, we're talking about resisting the authority of God in our life. Our life is not our own. Jesus purchased it. We've been bought with a price. Our life is not our own. And, the photo of me from 1976 is sitting in my congressman's chair. That year was a year where I was very involved in collegiate debate, and our team had won the national championship. We beat Northwestern in the semifinals and a Harvard team in the finals. And as a part of the bicentennial youth debates, because 1976 was the bicentennial, they had a debate competition all over the country, and my partner and I ended up winning that. And so they flew us out to Washington, D.C., met with then President Gerald Ford, had an offer to be a speechwriter for several people in Congress and the Senate. And so the picture that people will see of you was in that season where you were in the throes of your rebellion. My rebellion was a little bit different, but it had the same taproot, which was Satan. Yeah. And I was right there being seduced into a world that I know for a fact, if I'd stepped into the political arena, Joe, I would have lost any kind of mooring. But the point is, God will find us if we step out and reach to him, right? And that happened with you, didn't it? Yeah, I mentioned this the other day that, when you go to sleep, when you go to bed at night and you turn the light out, I don't have torment anymore inside of me. I don't have that fear. I don't have that troubled. Were they troubled? I was troubled, vexed, and afflicted. That's a song we sing. I had no rest or peace of mind. I couldn't find it until I repented and I cried. I cried out to God, because we talked the other day. I said, but people, anybody listening to this program, and you have situations in your life and you're tormented, you're troubled, or you're vexed and you're afflicted, there's a way out. There is a way. I can tell you, you're looking at two people. We were that way and we're not that way anymore. There's help. There's hope. And you know what? It's very practical for the man who late at night is slipping into another room and watching pornography. There's hope for you. For the person who's having an adulterous relationship, there's hope for you. For the person who knows that they're addicted to some substance, alcohol, drugs, gambling, the narcotic of whatever the addiction is, you can be certain of this. The seedbed of addiction, Joe, this is what I found in my alcoholism, is demonic. Yeah. It is a presence that has an insatiable appetite. It's never enough. Yeah. It's never going to be enough. The only hope that you have is to make a step towards Jesus, like Joe did in his life, like Butch did in his life. In Mark chapter 5, it tells us the story of the Gerasene demoniac. 1,200 demons, tormented, in the chains, in the tombs, dealing with all that torment, just like you and me, Joe. But it says he had enough of his will that he took a step towards Jesus. And Joe, that would be the cry of your heart, wouldn't it? For people that are listening or watching, the cry of your heart would be what for them? What would you want them to hear from your heart? The cry of my heart for you, this world makes things so complicated. You know what it is, people listening? It's you just stop and you say, Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me. Help me, God. And you just let that cry come up out of your heart. Help me, Jesus. I need help. That's right. But you don't stop just there. Every day you cry out to God, God, help me. Jesus, send somebody my way that can help me.
that can be a true friend in Jesus, that can help me out of whatever this is. There is peace. I looked down at my Bible here.
Yes.
And I got to wipe the tears. I can't see. It said, "Do not fret or have any anxiety about anything, but in every circumstance and everything by prayer and petition." The petition is Jesus. Help me.
Help me, Jesus.
Prayer and petition, definite request with thanksgiving. Continue to make your wants known to God.
Mm-hmm.
You keep crying out to God.
Right.
Things will change. It's a guarantee.
It is a guarantee. And here's also a guarantee. That is so powerful. Here's also a guarantee. If you stay in your rebellion and your sin, the consequences of that will be a bitter cup and can be even life-threatening. In many cases it is. You cannot have any assurance of heaven if you're not born again. And you certainly are not born again if you stay in your sin willfully and rebel. You know, for both Joe English and for Butch Maltby, the story of our lives is a story of rebelling against God and letting him start to work in our hearts, surrounding ourselves with a community of people that will take us to a place of obedience, which is what the cry of our heart is, Joe.
It's I'm thinking about across the street is the real jail. It's like you're in that jail all your life, and all of a sudden God comes and he opens the door.
That's right, Joe.
Come out.
That's right.
Come out and come with me. I'm going to guide you and direct you.
That's right, Joe.
To a life of happiness and peace. There might be some bumps in the road, but I'm here and I'm going to help you get through whatever it is, Butch.
And you know what, folks? You have no idea what the fruit of obedience can be just in godly relationships. I have a new friend and brother in the Lord that is a lifetime friend now, and it's in the spirit of that. We want you to come out of your jail, come out of your closets of disobedience and rebellion, and find Jesus as your only hope and help in life. You know, the time goes quickly, Joe, and it's gone quickly again here today. This is Word of Faith Speaks every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 until 9 a.m., 100.9 FM, 590 AM. You can hear these programs and many that are archived at www.wordoffaithfellowship.org. We've got a song now that illustrates what we've been saying today about the problems of rebellion and the fruits that we can have of obedience.
Your love never fails. It has covered a multitude of sins. Truly we have seen your mercy and your power to restore. Repairer of the breach, the restorer of my soul. No man can ever know such great love except through Jesus. As we have surrendered our hearts, we have truly seen the love of God. Oh, what joy it brings to be dealt with as your true son. In your judgment we have found representativity. We have loved your hand upon our life. Repairer of the breach, the restorer of my soul. No man can ever know such great love except through Jesus. As we have surrendered our lives, we have truly seen the love of God. As we have surrendered our lives, have truly seen the love of God.
The music's on us on WCAB.
ABC News. I'm Sherry Preston. The Taliban presenting its new caretaker government, and the U.S. less than excited about what Afghanistan's new cabinet will look like. At the Foreign Desk, ABC's Inez de la Cuetera.
A State Department spokesperson telling ABC